They were once the kings and queens of red carpets, household names with money, mansions, and millions. But behind the flashbulbs and fortune, the financial fairy tale didn't last forever. In this video, we dive deep into the lives of 15 Hollywood stars who went from mega rich to broke, their rise, their fall, and where they are now. At number 15, Al Pacino. Al Pacino is a living legend. From the Godfather trilogy to Scarface and Scent of a Woman, he's delivered some of the most iconic performances in film history. With a career spanning over 5 decades, Pacino's wealth was estimated in the hundreds of millions. But in 2024, it was revealed that the Oscar-winning actor was burning through cash at a staggering rate, reportedly over $400,000 per month. Legal documents showed Pacino had no idea how much he was spending, and the costs of raising his new child born in 2023 added further pressure. While he hasn't declared bankruptcy, insiders suggest his fortune has been severely depleted. Pacino continues to work in film and theater, but with a much more cautious approach to his finances. His story serves as a reminder that even the most revered stars are not immune to money troubles. Age, legacy, and lifestyle can all catch up, especially when no one is watching the bottom line. At number 14, Gary Busey. Gary Busey first gained fame in the late 1970s, earning an Academy Award nomination for his role in the Buddy Holly story in 1978. Known for his manic energy and intense on-screen presence, Busey enjoyed a successful career throughout the 1980s and 1990s with roles in Lethal Weapon, Point Break, and Under Siege. However, his life took a dark turn after a near-fatal motorcycle accident in 1988, which caused a traumatic brain injury. The resulting behavior changes and addiction struggles affected both his personal life and career. By 2012, Busey filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, listing over $500,000 in debt and only $50,000 in assets. He cited unpaid taxes, medical bills, and legal costs as the main culprits. Despite this, Busey has maintained a presence in Hollywood through reality TV appearances like Celebrity Rehab and The Apprentice. His eccentric personality has made him a cult figure, and while he may never return to his former glory, he continues to entertain in his own unconventional way. At number 13, Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes was an action movie icon in the 1990s, known for hits like New Jack City, White Men Can't Jump, and the Blade trilogy. With charisma, martial arts skill, and box office draw, Snipes amassed millions and became one of Hollywood's top black stars. But in the early 2000s, his financial world crumbled due to tax evasion. In 2006, Snipes was indicted for failing to file federal tax returns from 1999 to 2004, during which he reportedly owed over $17 million. He was convicted in 2008 and sentenced to 3 years in prison, serving from 2010 to 2013. Though he avoided bankruptcy, his career took a massive hit. Roles dried up and Hollywood was hesitant to cast him. Since his release, Snipes has worked to rebuild his career with supporting roles in films like Dolomite Is My Name, 2019, and Coming to America, 2021. He's also ventured into producing and writing. Snipes remains a complex figure, an immensely talented actor who paid the price for ignoring the IRS. At number 12, Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds was the definition of a Hollywood superstar in the 1970s and 1980s. With his signature mustache and southern charm, he headlined hits like Smokey and the Bandit, Deliverance, and The Cannonball Run. At his peak, he was the highest paid actor in the world, raking in millions per film. But financial trouble began when Reynolds made a string of poor investments, including a failed restaurant chain and a Florida football team. His extravagant lifestyle didn't help multiple properties, private jets, and a lavish horse ranch added to the debt. By 1996, Reynolds filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, citing $10 million in debt. He had to auction off valuables, including his beloved movie memorabilia. Though he never regained his former stardom, Reynolds returned to smaller film roles and teaching acting. In his later years, he reflected publicly on his financial missteps and personal regrets. He passed away in 2018, but his story remains a cautionary tale about the fleeting nature of fame and fortune in Hollywood. At number 11, Brendan Fraser. Brendan Fraser was once one of Hollywood's most beloved leading men. He captured hearts in family hits like George of the Jungle, 1997, and became a household name with his role as Rick O'Connell in The Mummy trilogy, 1999-2008. At his peak, Fraser commanded salaries of up to $15 million per film and enjoyed a string of box office successes. But behind the scenes, Fraser's personal life was unraveling. A messy divorce in 2009 resulted in alimony and child support payments that exceeded $900,000 annually. Combined with health problems from years of physical stunts, including multiple surgeries, Fraser's career began to stall. He struggled with depression, and by 2013, he petitioned the court to reduce his support payments, citing dwindling income. Although he never declared bankruptcy, his financial decline was significant. Fraser's disappearance from the spotlight lasted nearly a decade. But in 2022, he made a triumphant return in Darren Aronofsky's film The Whale, earning widespread acclaim and winning the 2023 Academy Award for Best Actor. His story is one of quiet perseverance, personal healing, and a hard-earned second chance. At number 10, Toni Braxton. Toni Braxton emerged in the early 1990s with a voice that could melt hearts. Her self-titled debut album in 1993 sold over 10 million copies worldwide, and follow-ups like Secrets in 1996 cemented her as a global R&B superstar. With 6 Grammy Awards to her name and a sultry yet classy image, Braxton's career was a masterclass in how to dominate the charts while remaining elegant and poised. But behind the scenes, her finances were crumbling. In 1998, despite selling millions of records, Braxton filed for bankruptcy due to bad contracts with her record label and overspending. She blamed high production costs and limited earnings from record sales. She later bounced back with a Vegas residency in 2006, but health issues, including a lupus diagnosis, forced her to cancel shows, leading to another bankruptcy in 2010. This second filing revealed Braxton owed between $10 to $50 million in debt, including medical bills, back taxes, and household expenses. Despite these hurdles, she continued working on reality shows like Braxton Family Values and music projects. By the mid-2020s, Braxton stabilized her finances and remains a respected artist in the music industry. Her tale is one of talent, tragedy, and tenacity. At number 9, Katie Price. Katie Price, formerly known as Jordan, rose to fame in the late 1990s as a glamour model in the UK. With her bold personality, controversial love life, and high-profile relationships, including with singer Peter Andre, she became a staple of British tabloids and reality television. In the 2000s, she capitalized on her fame with a series of reality shows, autobiographies, fashion lines, and perfume launches, amassing a fortune of nearly £45 million at her peak. But her spending habits and string of divorces took a massive toll. By the late 2010s, Price had multiple mortgages, unpaid debts, and tax issues. Lavish home renovation fees, stables, cars, and private school fees added to her financial strain. She was first declared bankrupt in 2019, and despite efforts to settle her finances, was declared bankrupt again in 2024, with £750,000 in unpaid tax bills. In early 2025, Katie was officially discharged from her second bankruptcy. In true Katie Price fashion, she announced she plans to earn £500 million over the next 3 years through new TV deals, OnlyFans, and brand endorsements. Whether she achieves that goal or not, her story remains a roller coaster of reinvention, notoriety, and tabloid headlines. At number 8, Lil Kim, born Kimberly Denise Jones, was a force in the late 1990s and early 2000s rap scene. Discovered by the notorious B.I.G., she exploded onto the scene with her 1996 debut album Hardcore, which went double platinum. Known for her provocative style and fierce lyricism, Kim was one of the first female rappers to dominate a male-dominated genre, becoming a fashion and hip-hop icon. She collaborated with the biggest names in music and earned millions through music, endorsements, and fashion ventures. But her career hit turbulence following Biggie's death in 1997, legal issues, and a brief stint in prison for perjury in 2005. While she made a comeback with reality TV and occasional performances, her financial situation began to spiral. In 2018, Lil Kim filed for Chapter 13 bankruptcy. She listed around $4 million in debt, including over $1.8 million in unpaid mortgage payments on her New Jersey mansion, hundreds of thousands in back taxes, and legal fees. Her income had dropped significantly compared to her peaky years. Despite her financial setbacks, Lil Kim continues to perform and remains a revered figure in hip-hop. She has also explored business ventures to rebuild her fortune and protect her legacy. At number 7, Stephen Baldwin. Stephen Baldwin, the youngest of the Baldwin brothers, made a name for himself in the early 1990s, with notable roles in films like The Usual Suspects in 1995 and Biodome in '96. His boyish charisma and edgy persona earned him steady work in Hollywood and millions in earnings. Though not as famous as his brother Alec, Steven enjoyed his own brand of fame, becoming a recognizable face in both movies and television. However, his financial situation took a sharp downturn in the 2000s. Unlike his older brothers, Steven's projects dwindled, and he made a significant shift in lifestyle after becoming a born-again Christian in 2002. He began focusing on faith-based initiatives and conservative political activism, which impacted his mainstream appeal in Hollywood. By 2009, Steven filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, citing more than $2.3 million in debt. He reportedly owed over $1.2 million on 2 mortgages and hundreds of thousands in unpaid taxes and credit card debt. His home in Rockland County, New York was foreclosed in 2013. Since then, Stephen Baldwin has appeared in smaller films and reality shows, while remaining active in Christian media. While he never returned to his former financial peak, he's found a new path aligned with his personal beliefs. At number 6, Kim Basinger. Kim Basinger began her career as a model before transitioning to acting in the late 1970s. She quickly rose to fame with her striking looks and acting chops, landing major roles in films like Never Say Never Again in 1983 and 9½ Weeks in 1986. Her role as Vicky Vale in Batman solidified her status as a Hollywood A-lister. By the early 1990s, she had become one of the most sought-after actresses in the industry, earning millions per film and winning an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in LA Confidential in '97. However, Basinger's financial troubles began with a bold and unusual move. In 1989, she purchased the small town of Brazelton, Georgia for $20 million with the dream of transforming it into a tourist attraction and film destination. The plan never materialized. When she backed out of the 1993 film Boxing Helena, the production company sued her, and a jury ordered her to pay $8.1 million in damages, later reduced but still substantial. The town investment flopped, and combined with the lawsuit, she filed for bankruptcy in 1993. Though she eventually recovered her finances and returned to acting in the 2000s, Basinger's story remains one of Hollywood's most dramatic cautionary tales about fame, risk, and fortune. At number 5, MC Hammer. In the early 1990s, MC Hammer was a cultural phenomenon. With his hit You Can't Touch This, flashy dance moves, and parachute pants, he became one of the most recognizable figures in music. At the peak of his fame, Hammer was worth an estimated $70 million. But with fame came unchecked spending. He purchased a $30 million mansion, hired a staff of over 200 people, and bought 17 luxury cars, racehorses, and a private jet. His generosity also played a role in his financial downfall, as he supported family, friends, and employees without setting financial boundaries. By 1996, Hammer filed for bankruptcy, citing over $13 million in debt. The lavish lifestyle and poor financial planning left him with just $1 million in assets. Though he never returned to the top of the charts, Hammer reinvented himself as a tech entrepreneur, ordained minister, and motivational speaker. He has since earned respect for his resilience and continues to stay relevant through social media and business ventures. At number 4, Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan burst onto the scene as a child actress in the 1998 remake of The Parent Trap. She quickly became a teen sensation with hits like Freaky Friday, Mean Girls, and Herbie, Fully Loaded. By her early 20s, Lohan had it all: fame, beauty, and a fortune reportedly worth over $30 million. But her career took a nosedive due to a series of legal issues, DUIs, stints in rehab, and a reputation for being unreliable on set. From 2007 to 2012, she was more likely to be seen in a mugshot than in a movie. In 2012, the IRS seized her bank accounts for unpaid taxes totaling over $230,000. Her financial troubles were compounded by a lack of acting roles and excessive spending. By 2013, she was reportedly struggling to pay rent and living off advances. Though she never filed for bankruptcy, her fall from financial grace was stark. In recent years, Lohan has attempted a comeback, opening a beach club in Mykonos, starring in Netflix's Falling for Christmas in 2022, and launching lifestyle brands. She also welcomed her first child in 2023, signaling a new chapter in her roller coaster life. At number 3, Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, once known as the baddest man on the planet, dominated boxing in the late 1980s and 90s. As the youngest heavyweight champion in history, Tyson earned over $400 million during his career. He was not only a boxing legend, but also a pop culture icon. However, his fall from grace was as fast and brutal as his punches. Tyson lived a life of extreme luxury with mansions, exotic pets like tigers, a private jet, and gold bathtubs. But he also faced massive legal issues, including a rape conviction in 1992 that sent him to prison. After returning to the ring, he tried to reclaim his former glory, but was plagued by controversy and reckless spending. In 2003, Tyson filed for bankruptcy, listing $27 million in debt, including unpaid taxes and legal fees. Despite his financial ruin, Tyson has reinvented himself. He launched a successful podcast, invested in cannabis through his Tyson 2.0 brand, and made film appearances, including memorable cameos in the Hangover series. His journey from riches to rags to resilience makes him one of the most compelling figures in modern sports and entertainment. At number 2, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp was the epitome of cool in the 1990s and 2000s. From quirky roles like Edward Scissorhands to his iconic portrayal of Captain Jack Sparrow in Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean, Depp became a household name and one of the highest paid actors in the world. By 2012, his net worth had reportedly soared past $600 million. But by 2017, Depp found himself in the middle of a financial nightmare. He sued his former management company, TMG, accusing them of mismanaging his money. TMG fired back, claiming Depp had a spending problem, including $30,000 a month on wine, $3 million to blast Hunter S. Thompson's ashes out of a cannon, and ownership of 14 homes. Legal battles with ex-wife Amber Heard further drained his finances and hurt his public image. He became entangled in defamation lawsuits and was dropped from major film franchises. Although Depp never formally declared bankruptcy, his financial troubles were very public. In recent years, Depp has shifted his focus to music and independent films in Europe, trying to recover both financially and reputationally. Finally, at number 1, Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage is one of the most unique actors of his generation, known for his intense style and versatile roles. He won an Academy Award for his performance in Leaving Las Vegas and starred in blockbusters like National Treasure, Face Off, and Con Air. By the early 2000s, Cage had amassed a fortune estimated at over $150 million, but behind the scenes, he was spending money at a legendary pace. Between 2006 and 2010, Cage bought multiple homes, a haunted mansion in New Orleans, 2 castles in Europe, a fleet of luxury cars, rare artifacts including shrunken pygmy heads, and even a dinosaur skull. His spending spree caught up with him when the IRS demanded over $14 million in back taxes in 2009. Cage blamed his former business manager, but the damage was done. He was forced to sell many of his prized possessions, and several properties were foreclosed. Although he never filed for bankruptcy, he came close. In recent years, Cage has turned things around by embracing smaller, critically acclaimed films like Pig 2021, slowly rebuilding both his reputation and his finances.